Nowadays, when we talk about the Fallout games, most people would think of games like Fallout 3, or Fallout New Vegas, or Fallout 4, or Fallout New Vegas. But it all started back in 1997 when Interplay Entertainment made the first Fallout game, which was a post-apocalyptic turn-based RPG with an isometric camera system. And it was a good critically acclaimed game. After that, they made Fallout 2 in 1998, which was also a pretty good game. Then there was a bunch of spin-offs that nobody exactly cares about, but in 2007 Bethesda got the rights of Fallout intellectual properties, and in 2008 they released Fallout 3. And let's just say they knocked it out of the park. The game got really good reviews and won multiple awards, and while some people did not like it because they changed a lot of things from the original games, most of the people were extremely happy with Fallout 3. And it also introduced Fallout to an even wider audience. And then after a few years in 2010, we got Fallout New Vegas. And this time, the developers knocked it out of the fucking planet. New Vegas was better than Fallout 3 in every single way. From better writing, better characters, better combat, better RPG elements and game mechanics, it was superior in almost every single aspect. The only problem this game had was the optimization. The game had a lot of bugs and crashing issues, mainly because the game was made within just 18 fucking months. It's a miracle that this game was even fucking playable at launch. But other than that, the game was loved by almost every single player, and even to this day, it is regarded as the best Fallout game ever. But the thing is, New Vegas was not actually made by Bethesda, but rather it was made by Obsidian. You see, after Fallout 3, Bethesda asked Obsidian to make the next Fallout game, because they were busy making this other small game that you probably may have heard of. It's not that popular, it just sold, I don't know, 60 million copies or something. Even though Obsidian had such a small time frame, they still managed to make one of the best Fallout experiences ever. And after that, fans also had really high expectations from the next Fallout game. Now, in between New Vegas and Fallout 4, Bethesda released Skyrim. And we all know how that went. That also got amazing ratings, sold millions of copies, won multiple awards, yada yada, we all know how that went. And because it was such a good game, the expectations for Fallout 4 got even higher. Bethesda now had to fill really large shoes. Not only they had to make a game better than Fallout 3, but they also had to exceed Fallout New Vegas. And fans were excited. Then came E3 2015, the year Todd took the stage and showed us what they have been cooking for the past few years. In a 30-minute long presentation, we got to see what Fallout 4 was all about. We got to see the graphics, the gameplay, the speech system, crafting and base building, the open world, and we also got to hear one of Todd's most iconic lines.
And one of the great things about having a fully dynamic game engine is all of this just works. All of this just works. And again, it just works.
And let's just say everything was looking pretty good. And then finally on November 10th, 2015, Fallout 4 got released worldwide. And it was an immediate success. It got perfect scores all across the board, everyone was calling it a masterpiece, and it also won Game of the Year.
And the winner for Game of the Year 2015 is
Fallout 4.
Yeah, not really. Turns out all of this was just not working. And even though the game did improve in a lot of aspects from the previous Fallout games, it still had lots and lots of issues. The game opens in your house, where the first thing you do is create your character. After creating your character, you explore the house, see your child, and just get connected with your family. This whole sequence is meant for you to get attached with your family and also see how the world was before the apocalypse. Although, none of this exactly fucking works, because this sequence is really rushed. I mean, everything happens really fast. One moment you're living your life with your family, and then suddenly a salesman appears and signs you up for a vault near your house.
No offense, but no soliciting.
Oh, no worries, ma'am.
Maybe I don't want to talk to you.
You do.
Just go away.
Won't take but a moment.
Come back some other time.
Come on, hon. It's just a little paperwork.
I think you forgot what no means.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
And then suddenly, just after a few minutes, the bomb starts dropping. And now suddenly you are running towards the vault with your family. Everything happens really fast. Once inside the vault, everyone gets inside these cryo chambers where everyone gets frozen. And then after some time, you get unfrozen and see this dude show up. He simply enters the room, steals your son, kills your partner, freezes you again, doesn't elaborate, and simply fucking leaves. And then after a few more years, you get finally unfrozen and get out of the chamber. Then you kill some cockroaches, pick up your Pip-Boy, and finally leave the vault. And this is where the game finally starts. And your main goal is to find your son, Sean. From here you go to your abandoned house and meet Codsworth, and ask him some questions on what the f exactly happened last few years. And soon you'll realize that the dialogue system in this game kinda sucks. You see, in previous Fallout games, dialogues were actually a really big deal. After all, Fallout was an RPG game, and diverse dialogue options was a big part of it. But in Fallout 4, the developers for some reason just decided to scrap that whole concept. In Fallout 4, you get only 4 options. You have yes, which means, well, yes. Then you have no, which means no for now, but I will come back later and say yes. Then we have sarcastic, which can honestly mean fucking anything, but you will say it in a funny way. And then finally, a question about the current quest or the situation. And sometimes you will get an option in a different color where you can speed check the NPC, and the chances of it getting succeeded is totally based on your charisma. You see, in previous Fallout games, you would get different dialogue options depending on your skills. But in Fallout 4, the only skill that matters in dialogue is charisma. If you have max charisma, then you will basically never fail any speed check.
Only if you throw in some more money.
Fine.
I think you can do better than that.
Driving a hard bargain, huh?
Last chance.
Let me buy the short hairs here. 200 caps.
Fetch work. Do it yourself.
And this was such a dumb decision because it just ruins the whole role-playing aspect. Because now you're just playing a fixed storyline. Your choices for the most part doesn't even affect the game. So you could be the most negative asshole and the NPCs would still treat you the same as before. You being a good person or a bad person doesn't exactly matter anymore. And also, half the time, you can't even tell what your character is going to say. I mean, what the fuck does sarcastic even mean? What am I going to exactly say?
Could you say that like Dr. Frankenstein?
Igor, fetch me the brain!
No, I will not.
There are very few scenarios where your choices actually makes any difference. Most of the time, your choices will just not matter. Anyway, after some chit chat, I go to a nearby town where I fight bunch of raiders and meet Preston Garvey, who is a member of the Minutemen.
Preston Garvey, Commonwealth Minutemen.
You owe me.
Yeah, sure thing.
Then one of his teammates tells me that there is a power armor on the roof of this building and I should get in that armor and defeat rest of the raiders.
The answer's no. I'm out.
Just like that, huh? Change your mind, tough girl?
I'll see what I can do.
Well, alright.
I am not even 1 hour into the game and it gives me one of the most powerful thing in the entire freaking game. Just like that. So I get into the power armor, pick up the machine gun and start killing the raiders. Until suddenly the game for some reason decides to throw a death claw at me. One of the hardest enemies in the entire game. Let me remind you, I'm just 1 hour into this game. My character is barely level 4, I have a hard time even fighting mole rats and now I'm about to defeat a Deathclaw in a freaking power armor. I mean, why? I guess they were trying to do the Skyrim thing, where in Skyrim you defeat your first dragon, one of the strongest enemies in the entire game at a really low level. But then again, it still seems understandable because you were the Dragonborn. But in Fallout 4, my character is nobody, so it just does not feel right. Feels like the game is rushing through everything just to keep me excited. Anyway, after that, I go talk to Preston, get the rewards. Then this elderly lady, who is supposed to be a psychic or something, tells me to go to Diamond City if I want to find my son.
You've told me nothing. It's all just guesswork.
Look, kid, I'm tired now. Maybe you'll bring me some chems later.
Bullshit. You're trying to play me for a fool.
Alright, folks.
Even though Fallout 4 has a lot of issues that I will talk about later in this video, but it also did improve a lot of things from the previous Fallout games. Like for example, the combat is now way better than any other previous games. Using guns now feels way better compared to older games. VATS now doesn't pause the game but rather slows the time. And the new crit system is also really cool. Now you can save your crits and use them when it's necessary. They also improved the enemies. Feral ghouls are now way more aggressive and will run towards you. Scorpions and rats now go underground. Human enemies would take cover behind objects, and some enemies would run towards you with a ticking time bomb. Overall, the enemies are now way better. And they also improved the power armor. You can now upgrade your armor and swap parts with better ones. Now they actually feel like a powerful armor rather than just another strong outfit. Getting inside an armor gives me the feeling of getting inside an Iron Man suit. The only problem I have with combat is melee weapons. Melee weapon hits in this game doesn't have any impact, and it feels like you are swinging your weapon in thin air. But then again, this problem still exists even in their latest game, Starfield. So... the fucking hitbox! Although when I am using VATS in melee combat, it feels pretty good. The game also adds a lot of new crafting systems. Environments in Bethesda games are always filled with lots of items that you can actually pick up. Now in older games, those items did not have any huge purpose. But in Fallout 4, every single piece of junk that you pick up can be used to build something. You can now build your own base and customize it as you like. You can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your armors. I personally don't exactly like building houses, but I do love crafting new weapon components. Customizing weapons is one of my favorite parts in this game. You can increase damage, increase ammo capacity, change scope, change the ammo type, improve recoil, add a suppressor. There are so many possibilities. You can take a simple gun and make it really powerful. They also changed the skill system as well. Now although a lot of people hate this new skill system and prefer the older one, I personally love it. I think it's really straightforward and extremely addictive. With this system, you can get stronger in your preferred playstyle from the very early game. For example, if you want a stealth build, then you can invest in agility from the very opening of the game. And then when you level up, you can immediately start putting points in sneak damage skills. This makes creating a specific build much easier. Now of course there is a skill limit on later stages for obvious reasons, but overall it is a pretty good system. Bethesda also added the Skyrim formula in Fallout 4's open world. Exploring the open world of Boston feels actually pretty good. Just like Skyrim, every direction you go to has something waiting for you. There's a new quest or new place to visit or some random encounter in almost every direction. As you progress through the story, you will see things change around the open world. You will see Brotherhood soldiers patrolling the open world and killing enemies. You will also sometimes see synths fighting on the open world, and these things makes the open world even more immersive. This time around, I also used the Pip-Boy app on my phone and connected it to the game so I could use my phone as a secondary display. And let me tell you, it was a totally new experience. The one big problem I had with Fallout 4 was the Pip-Boy. Anytime I had to check the inventory or the map or change armor, I always had to go through the Pip-Boy UI in the middle of the game, and it was really annoying. But with this app, I can change my outfit and armor and see the actual difference in real time. I mean, come on, the trip is important. And also, I can see the map in real time while I'm exploring, which is also really helpful. So if you are also planning on replaying Fallout 4, then try using this Pip-Boy app on your phone. It will make your gameplay experience even better. I have already made a tutorial video on how you can do it, so check that out later. Just don't tape your phone to your hand, it's really impractical. Trust me, I tried. Anyway, where was I? Oh, the Diamond City. Outside of the Diamond City, you'll meet Piper, who is a local reporter.
You want into Diamond City, right?
No, not really.
Shh. Play along.
I don't take orders from you.
Whoa, take it easy, yikes.
And then you'll meet the mayor. He will tell you that there is a detective that lives in the city named Valentine, and he can help you find your missing son.
Was there anything particular you came to our city for?
Not really your business.
Now after entering Diamond City for the first time, you'll realize a few things. First of all, Diamond City is not actually a city made of diamonds. And the second thing is that everyone in Diamond City hates the synths. Synths are basically synthetic humans made by the Institute. They look and talk exactly like normal humans, and the Institute kidnaps normal humans and replaces them with synths. For reasons. And that's why everyone is scared of them. Now while exploring Diamond City, you will also stumble upon a bunch of side quests as well. Now Fallout 4 does actually have some pretty good side quests. For example, the USS Constitution side quest, where you help these robots build a flying ship and then also see the outcome of all your hard work. The Confident Man, where you help Travis, the Diamond City radio host, gain some confidence, and after you finish the quest, it will affect the game, where now he will sound way more confident on the radio.
I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank the Vault Dweller for lending me a hand.
Or one of my favorite quests in the entire game, the Silver Shroud questline, where you wear the costume of Silver Shroud and start beating criminals like a vigilante. Or like Batman.
Fear is a tool. When that signal hits the radio, it's not just a signal, it's a warning to them.
You also get unique dialogues and interactions while wearing the outfit. And overall, it's an amazing questline.
It is the Shroud, it really is! Screw this!
There are a lot of good quests just like this scattered all across the open world. Now of course this does not mean that every single side quest in Fallout 4 is amazing. There are also quests that are really dumb or boring.
You look like something that was left in the fridge too long.
And I'm all alone. Who's going to take care of me? You?
You're on your own now, kid.
You are just gonna leave me here?
But the ones that I hate the most are the Radiant quests. These are some of the most boring and lackluster quests in the entire fucking game. This quest doesn't have any backstory or purpose, and most of the Radiant quests are just you going to some place and killing someone, or you going to some place and getting some item. And it feels like a waste of time. Other than that, most of the side quests in this game are actually pretty good. Anyway, where was I? Oh right, the fucking Diamond City! So in Diamond City, I go to Valentine's office. But he's currently missing, so I take the job of finding him. Turns out, he's locked up in Vault 114. So I casually go there, kill the enemies, rescue Valentine, do a speed check, doesn't elaborate and simply leave. Turns out Valentine is also a synth. You know, the thing that everyone hates in Diamond City, but then Valentine also lives in Diamond City. Turns out Valentine once saved the life of the mayor's daughter, so the mayor allowed him to stay in the Diamond City. But then later we find out that the mayor is also a synth. So after going back to Valentine's chamber, I described to him how the kidnapper looked like, what type of armor he wore, what type of gun he used, and Valentine immediately guesses it could be Kellogg.
You didn't hear the name Kellogg at all, did you?
Oh, yeah. I heard their names, their home addresses, and where their diary keys are hidden.
All right, calm down.
And also, coincidentally, Kellogg has a house in Diamond City. How convenient. So we break inside his house looking for clues, and we find nothing. The only thing we find is his cigars. Now Valentine recommends me that Dogmate can help us track Kellogg through the smell of these cigars. And then, I kid you not, Dogmate is literally standing just outside the fucking house. How fucking convenient. This type of things happens a lot throughout the main story. So anyway, we follow Dogmeat, kill a bunch of synths, and finally meet the man, the myth, the man, Kellogg. He tells me that Sean is still alive and he is in the Institute. And also he's a bit older than I remember. When I ask him where is the Institute, he says that it's a place where we can't exactly go.
So where is it, huh? This Institute? How do I get there?
You don't find the Institute. The Institute finds you. You open the closet, it's just a closet. You can never find the monster that hides inside. Not until it jumps out at you.
What the fuck are you talking about? After killing him, I looted his body and took a piece of his brain and simply left the place. Just outside the building, we also see the Brotherhood airship entering Commonwealth. It's fucking huge. Now before we progress, let's talk about the factions of this game. Now Fallout 4 has a total of 4 main factions, and every single faction has their own goals and ethics. First we got the Institute. The Institute is basically a group of scientists that create synthetic humans. They are basically the bad guys of the main story. They are the ones that kidnapped Sean, and honestly nobody knows their actual goal. All they do is create synths and use them as slaves, or kidnap people and replace them with synths, or create super mutants, or create synthetic gorillas, I don't know. Next, we got the Railroads. These are a group of people that believe that every synth has the right to freedom, every synth has the right to live their life as they please, so they help the synths that escaped from the Institute to live a better life. Then we have the Brotherhood of Steel. These are the people with the flying airship and power armors. They like to hoard and preserve technology and use it for themselves. They are extremely aggressive and violent and will kill anyone that comes in their way. And they also hate the synths, which means they hate both the Institute and the Railroads. The Railroad also hates both the Brotherhood and the Institute, as one of them kills the synths and the other one uses them as slaves. And the Institute also hates both of these factions, so there's a constant battle going on between these factions. And then there is the Minutemen. They don't give a shit about any of this. All they care about is building houses and helping settlements.
But I've got another favor to ask. I've had word from a settlement asking you think you could go help out the settlement? You think you could go help out word from a settlement asking from the settlement asking, but I've got another favor to ask.
Now for this playthrough, I will be joining the Brotherhood of Steel, because this is the best faction in this entire game. And if you don't agree with me, I'll literally shoot a nuke at your face. You will find the Brotherhood while exploring the open world. The first time you find them, they are fighting some feral ghouls. You can help them, and then Paladin Dance will ask you for your help in a mission. And from here on out, you can keep doing missions for them.
If you want to continue pitching in, we could use an extra gun on our side.
At this rate, you'll be dead within 2 days. And I want no part of it.
Brotherhood missions are mostly you working with Paladin Dance and just killing stuff. And as you keep doing quests for them, you will keep getting promoted to higher ranks.
Have you ever had sexual relations with any species considered non-human?
That happens often enough for you to have a question about it?
You'd be surprised how many Wastelanders answer yes to that question.
Now the funny thing is, even though the Brotherhood hates the synths, you can still have Valentine as your companion and enter the airship, and they won't exactly stop you. I mean, clearly Valentine is harmless. He won't do anything, right? Right? Now I need to go to a place called the Memory Dane, so that I can decode memories from the piece of Kellogg's brain that I found from his body. These memories will help me find the location of the Institute. Yep, I know it sounds confusing, but that's actually what happens.
Do you have it with you?
Here's what I could find.
What's this? This isn't a brain.
Once I got inside Kellogg's memory, we got to learn a little about his backstory. Now this particular mission was pretty cool, but only for the first few minutes. After that, it got really fucking boring. Anyway, we do get some important informations from his memories. Turns out, Kellogg once was a really good guy. It's just the society that turned him into a bad person. We also learned that the only way we can get inside the Institute is through teleportation. And there is this scientist named Virgil who can help us get inside the Institute. Yeah, no, not that Virgil. The only problem is that Virgil lives in an extremely radiated area, which is also known as the Glowing Sea. It's basically a huge open area with extreme radiation and strong enemies. I personally love this place. I mean, the radiation sucks, but the atmosphere here is fucking awesome. At the end of the Glowing Sea, I found Virgil, staying inside a cave. He tells me that I need a Corsair chip if I want to get inside the Institute. And for that, I have to kill a Corsair. Now Corsairs are supposed to be really strong and deadly synths, and they're also supposed to be really hard to kill. So I was surprised to see that the Corsair I found was a fucking idiot that died falling from the top floor. Yep, that actually happened.
Are you here for the synth?
I'm here to pick up an order. 2 large pepperoni and a calzone. Name is Fuck You.
Anyway, I get the chip and crack its encryption through the help of the railroads.
So, hand over the chip.
No way. That chip is mine.
Now I need to build a teleporter.
When we throw that switch, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. God willing, you'll end up inside the Institute, and the mission can continue.
Unless I end up inside solid rock.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
So after putting some generators and connecting stuff with each other, I somehow, by some miracle, managed to build one, and then teleported directly inside the Institute. The Institute is actually a pretty cool looking place. It looks futuristic and has a totally different vibe compared to any other place in the Commonwealth. After looking around a bit, I finally found my son Sean, locked inside a cell. But for some reason, he doesn't seem to recognize me. For some reason, he feels scared. I wonder why.
I'll kill them for this. All of them.
I don't know you.
Go away!
I'll get you out of there!
Father, help me! She's trying to take me!
Then this old guy named Father shows up, and we get the biggest plot twist of this game that probably everyone saw coming from miles away. Turns out, my son Sean is not actually the real Sean. He's a synth. And in reality, the father is the real Sean. So, son is actually not the son. And the father is our real son, who is now the father. Does that even make any sense? Sean is now really old. And also, he's in charge of the institute. The fucking institute. They kidnapped him when he was a baby because they needed the DNA of someone without radiation. I mean, the institute literally killed his father, but he doesn't give a shit. He's now controlling the institute. I mean, why?
The institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future.
What the I mean, from this point onwards, the game's story just fucks itself. There are so many stupid reasons the game gives you that doesn't even make any sense. And I'm not even gonna go too deep into this because it's just not worth it. Anyway, after some chit chat, Father tells us to join the institute and start working for them. Now from here, you have to pick a faction to finish the main quest line. Fallout 4's main quest line is scattered into multiple branches, which can also be divided into multiple acts. As you progress through the main storyline, you also get to do multiple faction quests alongside the main story. And as you progress through the main story, the factions will start overlapping with each other, and eventually you have to pick one faction to end the main quest line. And as I've said before, for this playthrough I joined the Brotherhood faction. So now the new goal is to help the Brotherhood destroy the Institute. And to do that, we need to rebuild the Liberty Prime. So from here on out, I do a bunch of quests for the Brotherhood, gathering different parts and equipments for the Liberty Prime. There's not a lot of story here, it's mostly just you going to places, killing stuff and gathering stuff. While doing these missions, we get another twist in the game. Turns out, Paladin Dance is also a synth, and Maxon orders us to find his location and kill him.
I'm finding it difficult to believe that he never confided in you, and then swore you to secrecy.
After everything I've done for the Brotherhood,
Your outburst leads me to believe I've misjudged you.
had he told me,
Apparently I've misjudged you.
after everything I've achieved,
You make a fair point. Apparently I've misjudged you.
you have to believe me.
Apparently I've misjudged you, which means I've decided to take you at your word.
So after asking around about his location for a bit, we finally managed to find him. He is hiding in this random place. And also, he's not wearing any clothes for some reason. Anyway, he seems pretty depressed and has already accepted his fate. So I decide not to kill him and let him go. But then what would you know? Just as I'm about to leave, Maxon shows up and again orders me to kill Dance. But at this point of the game, I had maxed out charisma, so I simply did a speed check and convinced him to let Dance go. And he did! And I also got promoted. But this guy still treats me like shit.
I wanted to formally apologize for the way I treated you. Ad Victoriam, Sentinel.
Hey.
You plan on completing that mission standing around or what? You ever want to get on my good side? You get your ass out there pronto and clear that location.
And now we are in the endgame. My next objective is to neutralize the railroads. So I get into my power armor and start ruthlessly killing all of this lovely railroad people. I did a few missions with these people just a few hours ago. They were actually pretty nice. They also helped me crack that Corsair chip once. And now I have to kill them. Anyway, I started killing anything and everything that came in my way, and within a few minutes, the job was done. Next, we need the agitator. It's basically a huge power source that we will use to power the Liberty Prime. So I simply go to this building and again start killing anything and everything that comes in my way. And within a few minutes, this job was also done. And now it's time to power up the Liberty Prime and finally destroy the Institute. Now this particular mission was also pretty cool, but only for the first few minutes. After that, it also got really fucking boring. This mission is also really long and you don't exactly get to do anything. Most of this mission is just you following the Liberty Prime, as this time it destroys anything and everything on its way. At the very end of this mission, it creates a huge hole on the ground and also throws a nuke inside and creates a direct path into the Institute. And And this is as far as it goes. After this, we don't see the Liberty Prime anymore. From this point onwards, it's just me and the Brotherhood. Anyway, I simply get inside, and I think you can already guess what I do next. I start killing anything and everything that comes in my way. The synths, the scientists, the fucking gorillas, I kill everything until the job is done. Here, I also get to see my son, the father. Turns out he's sick and suffering from cancer. Seeing him in this state actually made me a little sad. I mean, he is my son after all. Nah, I'm just kidding. I tell him to go to hell, shoot a nuke at his face, steal his clothes, doesn't elaborate any further, and simply just leave. While escaping the institute, I also get to meet the young Sean. He also wants to come along with me. So I simply tell him he's not my son, leave him to die, get into the teleporter, doesn't elaborate any further, and simply leave. And finally, from a large distance, at the top of a building, with the press of a button, I blow up the institute. And that's pretty much the ending. Oh, and we also do get a cutscene depending on the ending we chose, and that war never changes tagline. But yeah, that's pretty much the main storyline. The worst part of Fallout 4 is its main storyline. That's the one part of this game that I see everyone hate with passion. Even this entire video so far is just me mostly talking about how bad the storyline and the writing is and how bad the speech system is. But the thing is, Fallout 4 is not just the main storyline. There are so many other stuff to do in the game. You can just ignore the main story and still have a shit ton of fun. And Bethesda games were never popular for their story or writing anyway. For example, Skyrim is not popular because of its storyline or writing, but it's popular because of its exploration, its freedom, its open world, and its atmosphere and its fun gameplay loop. That's what made Skyrim so special. And Fallout 4 also follows that same formula. It has an amazing open world that's really fun to explore. There are so many fun side quests to do, it has pretty good combat and crafting system, and the core gameplay loop is actually pretty fun. The base building in itself is a minigame that you can just spend hours doing. And then there are also the DLCs. Fallout 4's biggest issue was the writing and the fact that your choices didn't matter in the game. And they fixed all of that in the Far Harbor DLC. Here, the story was actually pretty good, and your choices did have an impact on the ending. Throughout the DLC, any side quests you do or anytime you help any NPC, it will have an impact on the ending. The DLC also had a lot of fun side quests and places to explore, and overall, it was pretty amazing. And then there was also the Nuka World DLC, which is not as good as Far Harbor, but it's still pretty fun. Now of course, this does not make Fallout 4 suddenly a better game. And if you compare it to New Vegas, then New Vegas will always be a better Fallout experience. But as a standalone game, Fallout 4 is not as bad as everyone says it is. I see people say that it's a horrible game and that it ruined the Fallout experience, but I don't agree with them. I think Fallout 4 is a really fun game. And yes, it has some big issues that I just cannot neglect, but while playing Fallout 4, I did had a lot of fun. I had fun exploring the world, doing side quests and fighting enemies or doing silly things around the world, and it was a fun experience. From the perspective of a gamer and a fan of Fallout who just love playing these games, I can tell you this, that Fallout 4 is actually a pretty good game. It might not be the best Fallout game, but it is a pretty fun experience. And with the craze of Fallout right now because of the show, if you were also thinking about replaying Fallout 4 or even thinking of playing it for the first time, then this just might be the best time.